Hello everyone, welcome to Chaudhary Data World channel. Today I am here with a new video on in this add column ribbon we are having another option as invoke custom function. So basically we will be watching that how this particular option works. In previous video I have already covered up these two options, that is column from example and then custom column, and here it is a invoke custom function. So let's get started with the video. Here in this invoke custom function, it is nothing but whatever we did in custom column. So let me show you what we did. We were having, means we would have written the formula over here only. But suppose if you are having some formula stored as a function. So function, let me explain what basically the function is in Power BI. Function is nothing but it is suppose a keyword type of thing. It's basically a function is a basically you are providing a whole set of methodology or a whole set of procedure to be performed over a particular column. We are writing down it in a generalized format in some other query editor. So let me explain by just doing it. Let me create one query, blank query, by having right click here, new query, and then blank query. It is giving us the prompt that we can write here mQuery language, which will be stored for you for forever, and wherever in the another windows or in another data sets, wherever you will want you will be needing this particular function, you can just use this function and get the task performed. So that's it. Let me just go ahead with some writing some query. So what I am trying to write is in this fact table. We can see that by taking an example from this fact table, we can have this particular sales table. It is here. So in this sales table, we are having all the in this sales column, we are having all the values of sales. So what we basically need in this whole data set is we should have one column which will be the average margin of whole of the sales data we are having into this table. So suppose if the scenario might happen like this, this is 261.96 is the sales value. So suppose if we are considering 4% as the net margin or 5% as the net margin, so it will be something that 13 point something will be the net margin on this sales value of 261.96. So this will be calculated for all of the values or all of the rows whatever present in this whole fact table, and it will be considered into another separate column. So let me create a query for this which will be used as a function. Wherever this particular query will be executed or will be called, it will be asking you some inputs. You will provide those inputs into and the task will be performed at a go. So let me just quickly create this one. So this is whatever right now I will be writing. It's nothing but the m query. I mean, it's the m language under which this query is written. So the syntax of that creating a query is, first we will give a parameters, whatever parameter we will be needing for this function. Parameter is nothing but the inputs, whatever input from the whenever we will be invoking that particular function, it will be asking us those parameters to provide, and on the top of those parameter is nothing but the input. On those basis of those inputs only, the new column will be generated. So I will be taking up here this sales value, sales underscore value. First input will be this one, and the percent. So this will be a generalized margin percent we make, average margin percent. Fine, average margin percent. So these are the two inputs which this particular function will be needing, and basis of which what the methods or what the procedure it will apply on in this function, whatever the steps will be applied into this particular by calling this particular function is we will just multiply this sales value, whatever it is over here, sales value with the, multiply the sales value with the average margin percent, and then divided by 100, right? Since if we need to have a margin, means since we are providing this percent into percentage value like 3 or 4%, those percentage will be changed by dividing it into 100. So this is the formula we are going to apply whenever we will be calling this query 1. We can rename this query 1 as well. So whenever we will be calling this query 1, it will be needing two inputs, that are sales value and the average margin percent. On whenever we will pass these two inputs, these input will go into this particular formula, it will calculate and it will result into the new column. So when on click of enter, it will create it. You can see that it has been created. Now we will switch back to this fact table, where we will navigate to sales column. So here we are having sales column. At last we need that sales net, means average margin we need. So what we can do is average net margin. We can have an invoke custom function. So here we will click on invoke custom function. It will ask you the column name. So average net margin we may write like this. Okay. And function which we want to execute, it is asking you. So function is stored in a query, right? So it is into query 1. So when we will click on query 1, it is asking us the two inputs, whatever I was telling previously. So those are sales value and then average margin percent. So this sales value, it is asking you that either you can give your arbitrary number, that is any, or you can give any column name. So right now column name is needed, right? Sales column is needed for this whole execution, correct? So this is the sales column, we are providing it here. You can click on this and choose from the drop down as well. And the average margin percent, it is asking you. So here we don't need any column, we need to have a fixed percentage. So suppose 4% is the average margin, or 5, let me take, just for convenience, let me take 5%. And it will, on click of OK, it will create some column with having average net margin. That means whatever here it is the value, that is 261.96, 5% of it has been taken, and it has been taken into this particular column. So this particular whatever steps and whatever scenario I have explained you right now, this can be executed with multiple other ways as well. But here we have followed the approach of invoking a function, custom function. So it was one of the example. You can go ahead and you can create a long and lengthy functions as well, which will be executing a large step and a large logic into it, which will be invoked by this particular invoke custom function. So hope this is clear to you now. So any confusion, let me know into the comment section. And thank you so much for watching the videos. In upcoming videos, I will be explaining all these things. So stay tuned to the channel, like to the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks once again.